Hi there. Learn how to create a seamless shopping experience from fetching product data via API to designing a user-friendly interface and implementing a robust add to cart feature. Will guide you through every step to bring your e-commerce site to life. This is the 10th project on this series of JavaScript API. We aim to post videos every week. Kindly subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends. Let's have a quick demo right here. Here on the screen, we can see the e-commerce website that contains floating header with logo and menu items with basket and search icon. Once we click this search icon, we'll get the search area design here, and below we can see the filter options with category and limit with search button. All the values and products listed here will get from an API. Here we have listed all the categories. Now we'll find the products based on the category. I will select on electronics and will hit search. It will get only the products based on the category from electronics, and I can research it with the help of MT, and then if I click search it will get all the categories. Now I will click on limit and try to list with 10 items and then hit search. It will get only 10 items here. We can see the different products with product images and product price. Next to this, we have a wish list and add to cart icon. Once we hit the icon, the product will automatically added to the basket here on the top. So I will click on this product and then I will add this. Now you can able to see the quantity is automatically updated here. Now I will click on this cart icon. Now we can see all the cart items with quantity and then some price with total net price too. Now I will close this cart list and I will update the same product. It will automatically updated the quantity as well as the total net price here. That's all for the demo. Before beginning this video, I would like to introduce myself as Sharachandar K. If you find this tutorial useful, please subscribe to our channel and watch this video to motivate me. Let's level up our tech game together. Here on my desktop, I have already created a project folder name called Dynamic E-commerce app. Let me open this into a Visual Studio Code. So for that, I will drag this directory into a Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code will automatically loads all the files inside it. Inside the directory, I have already created the index.html, style.css and script.js. In the index.html, I have already added the HTML boilerplate with the help of exclamation mark. Along with that, I have changed the title to e-commerce website by Sharat Chandar K. I have linked other two files here with link and style.css script and script.js. Along with that, I have added one more link tag to use the font awesome icons with font awesome CDN. Now inside the body, I am going to add the header. Inside the header, I am going to add the new. Inside the new, I am going to add the div with class value of container. So for this, we are going to use the embed abbreviation with dot container. If I hit enter, it will automatically create the div tag with class attribute with the value of container. Inside the container, I am going to add the href with a tag of hash with class value of neighbor logo. The logo value contains SHA, and below we are going to add the another div with neighbor collapse. Inside that, I'm going to add the UL tag with the class value of menu items. Inside the menu items, I'm going to add the four menus with li. So for that, li asterisk 4. If we hit enter, it will automatically created the 4li. Instead of that, li dot, I need to add the class value with new item asterisk 4. If I hit enter, it will create the li with class attribute and then value. Inside that, I'm going to add the first li as home, second li as top, third alias about, fourth alias contact. Below to the UL, I am going to add one more div with card count. Inside the div, I am going to add the icon with class FA solid FA basket shopping. Next to this, I am going to add one more span tag with id attribute with the value of cart quantity count with inner text of 0. For now I will set to 0 based on the user click, it will be appended. Next to this div I am going to add one more I tag with the class value of FA solid FA magnifying glass. Now let us see our HTML file in action. For that in Visual Studio Code we have a extension called Go Live. Once we click this, it will automatically run our file into the default browser. Here we can see the logo and then menu items with icon basket here. Here the search icon is not showing because of this spelling mistake. If I save, I am not refresh, it is automatically refreshing the page. That's how the live server will work. Now we need to style this. So for that I need to go to the style.css. I have already added the font family of Poppins with import URL and then global selector of asterisk to reset the value of margin to 0, adding to 0, and I need to set the font family Poppins from the import URL and then box sizing to be border box. Now I need to add the styles to the body. With the help of element selector name called body, I will set the background color to blue color and height of 100 VH. If I save, now we can see the background color here. The next thing I need to add the styles to this header with same element selector name called header. I will set the position to absolute, width of 100 percentage, top to 40 px, left to 0, transition to all 0.3 seconds, yes and 0 second. And next thing I need to add the styles to this new with element selector of header and then new because this new is present inside the header, right? So I will set the background color to white, margin to 0 px, auto and 0. We'll set the max width to 1200 px, box shadow to 0, 10 px, 30 px of that position with the color of RGBA, red to 0, green to 0, blue to 0 and all four should be 0.1. Again I will set the transition here with transition of all 0.3 second years in and out. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see the floating header on top of the body. Next thing I need to add the styles to this logo. So the logo is presented inside this A. I will add some common styles to with the A of element selector. I will set the color to black. Will remove the underline with text decoration to none. Will set the same transition here. I will copy this and I will paste it here. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see that underline to this. So the next thing I need to add the styles to this container. Element selector of header with the help of dot and then class value of container. First I will set display flags. It will set all the items into the center of the list, align items to be center, justify content to be space between, padding, inner spacing, top and bottom to be 0, right and left to 15 px. If I save, now we can able to see the container. It placed all the content center of the container and will get the space between to that. Now I will set the styles to this Navbar logo with header, class selector and then class value of Navbar logo. Will set padding top and bottom to 0 px, right and left to 20 px. Will set the font size to 22 px. I will set the font weight to 600. Now we can see the difference here. The next thing I need to add the styles to this menu items with the help of class selector. Again with header menu items, we'll set this into a center of the list with display flags. We'll set this flux direction to row. If I save, if I go to the browser here, we can see the flux direction set to row here. Padding left to 0, margin bottom to 0, list style type to none. This will help to remove this dot from here and margin right to 25 px. If I save, now we can see the menu list without the dots. The next thing I need to add the style to this menu items with header dot menu items and then subclass of nav items. We'll set the margin right to 25 px for each menu item. We'll set cursor to pointer, adding inner spacing, top and bottom to be 10 px, right and left to 0, font size to 13 px, font weight to 500, color to be a light black color, text transform to uppercase. If I go to the browser here, we can see the space between each li. Once we over, we need to change the color of these menu items. So for that, I will copy this. As I said, we are going to add the over here with color of yellow. I will set the transition to this with all 0.3 second use in and out. If I save, if I go to the browser, once I will over, we'll get the color change to this li. Now I need to set these items into a same line. So for that I need to use to display flags. So here we have already used this. So I will reuse this with header with dot class selector and then navbar collapse. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see the menu items icon into a single liner with the help of display flux. The next thing I need to add the styles to these icons. With the help of this selector, I will add the eye to this. Will set cursor to pointer, line height to 70 px. Will set the font size to 18 px. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see the difference. Once I over, we need to change the color to this also. I will use this same and I will reuse this selection with I and then over. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see the over effect to that icon also. I need to add the space to this basket as well as the search. So for that we need to add the styling with this card count with header of class selector card count. I will set the margin right to 20 px. If I save, now we can see the space between to these icons. Now I need to add the search bar here. So for that, I need to jump to the index.html. Next to this container, I need to add one more div with search input. Inside this, I will add the form details. One more div. Inside this form details, I need to add the input with type text, class of form control, placeholder of search here. Next to this, I'm going to add one more icon with class of FA solid FA mark. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the search here, but FA X mark. If I save again, if I go to the browser, we can see the X mark and then input box here. We need to style this. So for that, I will jump to the style.css again with a header dot search input. Will set the background color to blue color, adding inner spacing, top and bottom to 5 px, right and left to 20 px. If I save, now we can see this. I need to add the styles to this for the form control with same header and search input and then class value of form control. We'll remove the background with transparent. We'll remove the border to 0. We'll set the color to white. Font weight to 400. Font size to 15 px. Padding inner spacing to be 0. A width of 100%, height of 2.25 rem, line height to 1.5. We'll remove the outline with outline none. If I save, if I go to the browser here, we can see this, the search area and then icon here. So we need to add the color to this placeholder also. So for that here we have this WebKit. To add the placeholder, we'll set the color of white here. We'll set the font size to 14 px. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the placeholder color. Now I need to add the icons next to here. For that I need to set this as an inline. We'll use this header search input to be set to display flags. I will reuse this class again for this form details too. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see the search area here and then icons into the same line. Now I need to add the styles to this icon. So for that header search input of form details of I will set cursor to pointer, font size to 18px. Now we can see the bigger icon here. So next to this we need to add the cart area also, right? So for that again I will jump to the index.html. Next to this search input I'm going to add one more div with class of cart list view. Inside this div I'm going to add the icons with same fa solid fa x mark. Next to this div I'm going to add the table with class of cart table data. I will close the table. Inside the table I'm going to add the tiered. For the tiered I will add the th. First th as product, second th as price, third th as quantity, fourth th as total. Next to this I'm going to add the t body. Next to this I'm going to add the t footer here with t foot. So same as above, I will copy this for th. I will paste it here. Instead of product, I will set total net price. I will set this column span to 2. This will occupy from year to year. And I will remove this price. This is quantity. This is for total net price. So I need to add the IDs to this with total quantity for this ID of total net price. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see this. Now we need to add the same styles above like this search area. So again, I will jump to the style.css. As I said, I need to apply the same styles. So I will use the header with class value of cart list view. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see this. So I need to add the cart list to cover this page. So for that, again with header dot cart list view, I will set the height of 80vh overflow y to scroll. Now we can able to see the cart list to 80vh. I need to add the styles to this table also. So for that we can directly set the styles to this table. We'll set the width of 100%, padding inner spacing 1 rem, background color to transparent. We'll set text align to justify. And then here we can see this X mark. I need to set this X mark end of this, right? For that I can directly add the inline style to this style text align to end. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see this. I need to add the styles to this also. So for that dot cart list view of fa x mark will set the cursor to pointer, will set font size to 18px, or else we can reuse this above class. So I can copy this and I can go here. I will add the comma and I will reuse here. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can able to see the two icons here. Now I need to add the styles to that table elements with table th and then table tr. Will set this above, adding inner spacing of 1 rem, font weight to 500 and font size to 18px. I need to set the table to td with padding top and bottom to 0, right and left to 15px. We'll set the font weight to 500. If I save, now we can go to the browser. Now we can see the spacing here. Now I need to add the styles to the header with table, tiered and tr and th. For this I will set the color of white. I will set the border bottom 1px solid with black color. If I save, now we can see the white color as well as the border bottom too. Now we'll add the styles to this footer too with table default. We'll set the background to this of light gray color. We'll set the color of black. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see this. This called spam to be occupied this two area. This will be updated the total quantity, and this will be updated the total cost of entire cart list. Now we need to hide this. Whenever we click this, we need to open the search area. Whenever we click this, that time only we need to open the cart area. For now, we'll set this both as display none. This will help us to hide. If I save, if I go to the browser, we can't able to see that. Now we need to add the sessions to the background image as well as the product list too. So for that, I need to jump to the index.html. Next to this header, I'm going to add the session with class of banner area. Inside this banner area, I'm going to add the image width of 100 percentage and height of 300 px with source value to be bg.jpg. If I save, now we can able to see the background image here. And next to this, I'm going to add h1 tag to add a heading to say e-commerce website. We need to add the styles to this. So for that, again, I will jump to the style.css. I will add the banner area h1. Anyway, the image is automatically set to this header. So now we need to add the styles to this h1 only. So we'll set the position to absolute, top to 155 px. We'll set right to 35 percentage and font size to 35 px. If I save, if I maximize, now we can see the e-commerce website is set to the center of the screen. Next to this, I need to add one more session for the product list with session dot class value of cart area. Inside this cart area, we are going to add the filter div. Inside that, I will add one more div. We'll set the label to category. We'll add the select option to add the category list to here with select ID of category, and I will copy the same and I will paste it below. Instead of category, I will set to limit and then ID of limit. Next to this, we are going to add the button with value of icon with class FA solid with same FA magnifying glass. I will close the icon. If I save, now we can see this. Next to this filter div, we need to add one more div called container with ID of, I will use the hash to add the ID value of cart list. If I hit enter, here it will add. Now we can't able to see this. Now we need to add the styles to this filter. So I need to jump to the style.css here with cart area. This is what the cart area. Inside the cart area, we have that filter will set height of 100 percentage, adding inner spacing 1 rem, margin to be auto. Will set display flux here to set this into the center of the cart area. Align items to be center, justify content to be center. We'll set the margin right to 25 px. If I save, now we can able to see the filter is set to the center of the screen. I need to add the styles to this label with same class selector, and then I will add the label of element selector. We'll set the padding top and bottom to be 0, right and left to be 10 px. So we'll get that space between this, and next to this I'm going to add the styles to this select box. With the help of same selection, I will use the element selector of select. We'll set height to 50 px, border radius to 5 px. We'll set the border 1 px, solid with white color. We'll remove the outline with the help of outline none. We'll set the font size to 18 px. We'll set the padding to 10 px. Text transform to capitalize. If I save, now we can see the select box with item width. So the same thing I need to set to the button also with cart area dot filter button also. If I save, now we can able to see this. So I need to add additional style to this button. We'll set the background to blue color, cursor to pointer, margin left to 15 px. It will help us to set the space between here. And I will add the styles to this icon with cart filter selection with I will set the font size to 18 px, padding inner spacing of top and bottom to be 0, right and left to be 10 px. We'll set the cursor to pointer again. If I save, now we can able to see the font size, and then button is an uniform space. Now we have completed the design. We need to add the functionality. Once we click, we need to open the search bar. Once we click, we need to open the cart. Once we scroll, this should be set to the top, and we need to add the values to the categories as well as the products. So for that, we need to jump to the script.js. Here in the script.js, I'm going to add the declaration with the help of const and header. We'll add the document. Document is an owner of your web page with query selector with value of header. We'll set the console.log to check what is this header contains. If I save, if I go to the browser, here in the insert element, we can see the entire header element. So with the help of this, once we scroll, we need to set this on top of the web page. So for that, I will declare all the declarations into the script.js. So I have declared all the declarations here. If you want, you can pause the video and you can declare the declarations by your own. And next to this, I need to add one more let with global variable of cart data array. If you are interested in add to cart, I have already added one more video with JavaScript array. Right now we are using with the API. Previously I done with that array. If you are interested, I have added into the code. Please do check it out. And as I said, once we click, we need to open the search bar, right? For that, we need to add the event listener for this icon. For this icon, here we have added this as a search product dot add event listener. Click inside that, we'll add the function, and I will add the alert here to check if this event is fired or not. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click here, we can get that alert. So once we click this, we need to enable the search bar, right? So for the search bar, here we have created the declaration as search input. For this search input, we are going to add the class with the help of class list dot toggle of active. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will navigate this search. Here we can see the search input. If I click on this, we can see now the active class is added. If I click again, the active class will be removed. That is how the toggle will work. So now we can't able to see, right? So we need to add the styles to that. For this search input, I will set the search input dot active, and then I will set the display to block. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click on search, boom, now we'll get that search input area here while clicking this. How simple is this, right? The same thing we need to add to that cart area also. So I will use the class. Once we click this class icon, that time also we need to close this, right? For that, we'll create one more event listener to close search input with same add event listener. I will copy this and I will paste it here. Instead of toggle, we need to remove. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click, it will open. If I click, it will be automatically closed. If I click on close from here, it will also close. If I open, if I click from here, it will close. For the next thing, I need to list all the products here. For that, we need to use the API called fake store API. So I will go to the browser with new tab. I will type the fake store API. If I hit enter, we'll get that first result as fake store API. With the help of this API, we are going to get all the products. So based on these resources. So here, these are all the resources. This is the first resource to the products. If I change to the pretty print, here we can see the products with ID, title, price and description. Here we can see the images too. I will copy and open into the new page. Here we can see the images also. With the help of this API, we can get all the products with this get only that particular product. With the help of ID, we'll get the categories. Here we have only 4 categories. Here we can get all the data from an category, and then we can set the limits also. This API is completely free. You can also explore with me. For this, I will copy this fake store product URL. I will jump to the script.js. I will add one const variable here with API URL. I will paste the URL here. Whenever we are loading the page, we need to list all the products, right? So for that, we need to add window dot add event listener. As I said, whenever we are in the load, this should fire. Inside that, I will add alert to check if this is firing or not. If I say, if I go to the browser here, we can see if I refresh on the load, we can get the alert. Inside this, we need to do that operations. Here, I need to use the fetch with API URL. I will add dot then with a response. We'll convert this response as response.json. This will help us to add in the readable format. We'll get another then with data. We'll set the console.log of data to check what is this data present. If I save, if I go to the browser here in the console, we'll get that 20 products here with category, description, and all the details here. We need to add the categories as well as the limits, right? Whenever we loaded this, we need to set the categories. So for this category, I need to jump to this API site. Here we can see the product slash categories. I'm not going to create multiple URLs like this. I will define one const variable. With the help of this const variable, I will append the string concatenation of these parameters. For example, API URL with category we need to get, right. So for that I will copy these categories with backward slash. I will add the string concatenation. I will append here. If I save, if I go to the browser, we'll get these categories. Now these categories need to be appended to this category select box, right. So for that here we are going to create the for each of this loop and then element of item. Inside that I'm going to create let categories equal to document dot create element. This will help us to create the element of option, because inside the select box we can append the options. So I will set the option. I will set the categories dot value equal to this item from an array. This will get this items categories dot text equal to items. For the options we have a two parameters, so I will show you in shortly. So this will, we need to set this into this category. This category we have already added as a declaration for this select box and will append to this categories here. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see this. How simple is this, right? If I go to this select box, here we can see the options with two values. This is value and this is text. And we need to add one more empty also. So for that, I need to go to the index.html. In the index.html, here I will set one option with empty. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we'll get that first one as empty and it will binded all the values here. Here in the console, we can see all the items is in smaller case. So as per the style, we have set this as capitalized. So if I go, if I see here, here it is capitalized. If I remove, this will set as lowercase only. How cool is this, right? The next thing, I need to add the product details here. So again, I will jump to the script.js. I'm going to create one more function with the value of load products. Inside this, again, I will use this same fetch because we have already used this. I will use this and then here I will remove this. Instead of this, I will add the console.log to check products. So I will change this item to product. I will check this product here. I have segregated this as a new function. So inside this window, we are not going to dump all the codes. I will call this load products. End of this, add event listener of that load. If I save, if I go to the browser, in the console, we can see all the 20 products here. On the top, I will remove this console.log from here. So we can clearly see only the products. So this is what the entire products here. These are the products from an loop. So once this present, we need to append this product into this hot list. So for that, we have already added the declarations. Now we need to append to that. So here I will create one let with cart item equal to, inside this cart item, we are going to build that HTML with the help of div with class of will set single product, and then I will close the div. Inside the div again, I will add one more div with class of images. For this, I will add image with source of string concatenation. So I will check what is the source for this image. I will jump to the browser here. For this list here, we have the image. So we need to use this with product.image. This will append the image from an main product. Next to this div, I'm going to add one more div with class of product details. I will close the div. Inside this, I will add h5. This will mention the product title, product.title as a name. So here, this is what the product name of this title. And next to this, I'm going to add one more div with class of product price. I will close the div. Inside that, I will set the pan tag with class of price. For this price, again, I will add the string concatenation of product. I will check here. It is price here, product dot price. And next to this, I'm going to add one more div. This div contain two icons. One icon is for art, one icon is for plus. So now we have created this cart item. Now I need to add this cart item into this cart list dot inner HTML. I will set plus equal to this will append into this HTML based on the loop. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see the products it's appending. How simple is this, right? All the products images is appending here. We need to add the styles to this. For that, I need to jump to the style.css. I will add the styles to this container first. We need to set this products into a single liner for per row. For that, criteria dot container will set the height of 100 percentage, adding inner spacing 1 rem. Will set margin to auto. This will help to set into the center. As I said, we are going to set as a 4 per row with the help of display grid. We'll set the grid template column to be repeat 4 per one frame. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the 4 datas into the one frame. Right now the image data is big. I need to set that so we can clearly see that 4 records into per row. So for this inside the cart container, we have added this as a single product. I will add the class to this with container and then single product. Will set the position to relative, adding inner spacing 1 rem, width of 350 px, height of 450 px. Will set the box shadow minus 1 px, 15 px, 30 px and minus 12 px of the position with RGB color red to 32, green to 32 and blue to 32. We'll set the border radius to 5 px. We'll set the background color to white. We'll add the color of black, cursor to pointer, margin bottom to 2 rem. If I save, if I go to the browser here, we can see 4 per row here. Still the image is not fit into that single product. So I need to add that styles to that image also with dot cart area will set single product, else we can set all the images to this cart list. So how we can add the styles to this cart list. So here it is container and here it is ID. So for the ID we need to use the hash to set the styles with the selector. And then cart list element selector of image will set the width of 90 percentage. I will set the height of 90 percentage. Object fit to contain will set the position to absolute. If I save, if I go to the browser here, we can see that 4 per row as an column. Now we need to add the styles to that product details also. For that again, I will jump to here. We'll add the styles to this product details of dot product details. We'll set the width of 97 percentage, position to absolute, bottom to be 0 because this should set to into the bottom of the card. We'll set left to 0, padding to 10 px, background color to same blue color, border radius to 5 px. We'll set the margin outer spacing to be 5 px. If I save, now we can able to see the product details is set to here. But the image is going back side of this product details, right? It should set to on top of this. So I will set the image style to reduce to 70. If I save, now it is perfectly fit here. So some of the place we can able to see the product details. Here it is big and here it is small. So because of this title, so we need to set this title into a single liner. So if the text exit, we need to set to dot 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 for this. So we need to add the styles to that with the help of product details and then h5, because we are added these product titles into this h5. We'll set the margin bottom to 15 px. As I said, we are going to set this white space as no wrap and overflow to be hidden. Text overflow to ellipsis. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see this text is end here, but here this text is going with dot dot dot. So user can come to know here we have the more text, it is visible to dot dot dot. Next to this, I need to add the styles to this price. Before that, I need to set this into the center of the row. How we can do this? I think you have got that with the help of display flags. Yes, you are correct. With the help of display flags, align items to be center and then justify content to be space between. If I save, now we can see the price as well as the icons into the center of the list. The next thing, I need to add the styles to these icons. With help of this same product details, I will add these styles to this product price, and inside the product price we have this div. For this div, I will set the display to flags. This will already set to the center of the list. This will help to set the gap of 15 px. If I save, now we can able to see the gaps between these icons. So the next thing, I need to add the styles to that icons. We'll set the font size to 18 px, background to white. We'll set the height of 35 px. We'll set the width of 35 px, because we are going to set this background color with a rounded style. Line height to 35 px, text align to be center. We'll set the border radius 50 percentage, as I said, because this is going to be rounded. I will set the transition to 0.3 second. If I save, now we can able to see the icons with rounded style. So once we over, we need to add the styles to that yellow color, same as this. So again, I will copy this, I will paste it here. I will set the hover, will add the background to that yellow color. If I save, if I go on over, we'll get that styles here. I need to add the styles to this price tag with this same product price class of price. We'll set the font weight to bold. If I save, now we can able to see the styles as well as the product is set to here. Once we scroll, the menu is gone. So for that, we can't able to see the cart icon here. So once we scroll, this should set to fit. Based on this click, we need to open the cart list here. So for that, I will jump to the script.js. Based on the scroll, we need to set these things to active. So here on top of this, I'm going to add the scrolls to this window dot add event listener of scroll. We have a option of event listener to the scroll. We'll set this function. We'll check console.log of what this scroll is. Window dot scroll y. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I scroll this web page, here we can able to see the scroll content. If I go to the top again, it is 0. If I scroll, we'll get the value. So based on this scroll, we need to set these things to sticky. If I scroll, we'll get till 50. Once it reaches 50, see now it is 50. Once it reaches 50, this should set to on sticky, right? For that here, I will set this if scroll y greater than 50, then we'll set the header dot class list dot add value of sticky menu. Else we'll remove the same. Again, if it is top, we need to remove that, right? We'll remove. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will navigate to the element. Here, this is the header. If I scroll to the 50, now we can able to see the class here. If I scroll to the top again, it is 0. If I scroll to the 50, it will get sticky menu here. So we need to add the styles to that sticky menu. I will copy this. I will jump to the style.css on below to this header. I will add the header.sticky menu. If this sticky menu is added to that header, we need to set the position to fixed. This will help to set on the top all the time. We'll set the top to 0 because for the header we have set this top as 40 here and width of 100 percentage. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I scroll, now we can see that it is fit to top. If I scroll, it is jumping. Still it is not fully occupied. So for that we need to set this header dot sticky menu. Will set the nav to width of 100 percentage because this header sticky is placed inside the nav. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I scroll, still it is not happening. Why? I need to go and check this nav. We have set this as max width. So we need to set this same max width to 100%. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I scroll, we can see the menu floating and fixed to the top based on the scroll. So now if I scroll, if I add this value here, and we can able to check this. Now it is adding on the top. We need to set the z-index to this with header z-index to be 99. If I save, if I scroll, now it is going backside of this header. We need to add this add to code into this basket. For that, I will jump to the script.js. For this, we need to add the click events. I'm going to create on click with this equal to, I will add the function called here add to cart with string concatenation of product dot id. Here we are getting this id, right? Yes, here we are getting the id. We can't able to pause all the parameters for the security reasons if we are implementing as a larger application. Right now this is an API with JavaScript, so we can use this same as that. So I can only pause this id. So based on this, we can get the products from an ID value and then I will pass the quantity as 1. This will help to append the quantity based on the addition of same product multiple times. If I click add to code, now we are getting the error. Add to code is not defined. We have created this, but we have not yet created the function. We'll create the function with function keyword, function name as add to code. I will add the two parameters. One is ID and another one is quantity. Now I will add the console.log to check these two parameters we are getting based on the click or not. If I save, if I go to the browser, the category is appended, the products also appended. This is 1 and we'll get the quantity of 1. If I click, this is 2. If I click, this is 3. These are the product IDs and these are the quantities. Based on this, we need to append this into the list of array and we need to set this quantity update also. Again, inside this add to code, I will add one declaration of let product array equal to, will set that id of id and then quantity to be quantity. This is an array we are going to push into this global variable of cart data. So I will copy that. I will add the cart data dot push of product array. I need to set this count. So for that, I will add the cart data dot for each element of value. Inside that, I will add the total quantity plus equal to el dot quantity. This total quantity, I will set one more letter here of 0. We need to assign to this. So for that, we have already declared the declarations with cart quantity count dot inner text equal to total quantity. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click on plus, here we can see the quantity is updating. If I click on plus, see it is updating. We can see the quantity is updating based on the click. So once we click this should open, right? So for that, I need to create one more function with function keyword, function value of view cart details. Inside this, I need to check if cart data dot length greater than 0, then only we need to open that cart details here. If greater than 0, then I will set the check here. I will set this cart table data dot inner HTML equal to empty. I will open this cart list view dot class list dot add active because we have already added this active class value there. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click on add to cart, the quantity is updated. If I click, it is not open because we have created this function, we have not yet initialized it. So for that, I will jump to this index.html inside the container for this cart. Here I can add this on click equal to that view cart details. If I save, if I go to the browser now, if I click, it will not open because the quantity is 0. If I click this, if I go on click, now it could be open. Now we can able to scroll and we can check, but the list is not appended. We need to append that too, right? So again, I will jump to this script.js. Inside this, I need to add few let declaration with total cart price equal to 0, total cart quantity 0. Now we need to check this cart area. So based on this cart area, we are going to get that array, right? Again, I will jump to here in the insert element. I will add few more products and now we hit the cart. Now we'll get that array here. Inside the array, we can see the ID as well as the quantity. So with the help of this ID, we can get that products. So here we have this. We need to pass this ID and we need to get the product here. For this, I need to create one more for each with this cart data dot for each will get that array. Inside that I will add the fetch here as same as this with fetch. I will copy this entire fetch and I will place it here instead of category. I need to pass as ID directly to this product. You can see the difference, right? If you want to get all the products, you can get slash products and you need to get the particular products. We need to add the products slash that ID. So I will remove this. I will add the string concatenation of arr dot ID. Inside this, I will add the console.log to check the data here. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click this 3, this is 2 and this is 1. If I hit on cart, we'll get that 3 products. 1, 2, 3. These are the 3 products we'll get from an API. So with the help of this, we need to append to this table here. So I will remove this console.log. First, I will add the total cart price plus equal to data dot price into array dot quantity because we are going to multiply this price into this quantity for this total net price, and then same thing for total cart quantity plus equal to arr dot quantity, and we'll set this later. Before that, we need to define this table here with let table list equal to, we are already created this with td. Inside the td, I'm going to add the div with class of product name. Inside this product name, I'm going to add the image source with string concatenation of data dot image. This will get that image. Next to this, again I will add the h5 with string concatenation of data dot title. Next to tds with string concatenation of data dot price. I will copy the same and I will paste it below 2 times. This should be quantity. Instead of quantity from an products, I need to get this quantity from an array. Array dot quantity, because we are updating the quantity based on the click. We need to calculate this total data dot price into array dot quantity. And next to this, I need to create one more let as tr equal to same document dot create element with tr dot inner html equal to table list. We'll set this called table data dot append child of tr. I need to append this total quantity as well as the total net price to total quantity dot inner text equal to total quantity and then total net price dot inner text equal to total cart price. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will close this. If I click add, if I hit on cart, we'll get that details. So based on the selection, we can get this. So we need to add the styles to this. So again, I will jump to the style.css. We'll add the cart list view dot product name. We'll set this display to flags. We'll set the align items to be center. This will help to set this image and then name into the center of the line. Padding inner spacing to be 10 px. Same thing, cart list view dot product name. Will set the styles to this image. We'll set the width of 50 px. I need to set the styles to this h5 also. With h5, we'll add the margin left to 10 px. If I save, if I go to the browser now, we can see the men's cotton jacket as well as this men's casual. If I close, it is not closing. I need to do the close for this also. So again, I will create one more function with close cart details. Inside this cart list view dot class list dot remove of that active class, and I will copy this function name. I need to use this into this X mark of on click of this. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click 1 and 2 and then 3 products, if I go on click here, we'll get this 1 and 2 and 3. If I click on close, it will close. If I click 1 and 2 and 3, now the cart became 6. If I click, see it is appending. So we have these multiple products with multiple quantities. We need to merge that, right? How we can do that? Again, in the script.js, here in the add to cart function, we need to create one let is product exist equal to true. I will add one more for each to check this cart item if array dot el dot id double equal to this id what we are passing from here again. This will check if this is present. We'll set this el dot quantity plus plus, and then I will set this is product exist equal to false. This I will copy here, and if this is true, then only this should append to this cart area, else it will update from the quantity from here. Now we'll check that. Again, I will add 1 2 and then 3. If I go and click here, we'll get the data. If I close, if I click the same again, 1 2 and then 3. If I go and open the cart, we can see the quantity is updated with that price and then total net price too. Apart from this, I will close. I will add this ring for 5 quantity. If I click here, we'll get that ring has 6 quantity with total should be appending to float of values. We need to fix that. For that, here in this list, total price will set the pass float dot to fix by 2. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click again, and if I open this, now it will set to true here. I will close this and I will add some other product. If I go and click on open, now we'll get that. Now the categories, if I select on electronics, if I hit on search, it is not searching, and then limit also empty. So we need to do that. First we'll set this limit. So here in the load products, based on the product's length, we need to set that limit. We'll set that limit dot inner html equal to null. This will remove that limit all the time, and we need to set the for each here index of let equal to I array of value will get from data dot length I plus plus. Now we'll get this data dot length as 20 because we have product of 20. So we'll get this 20 from here. So we need to get this divided by 5. So for that I will add that math dot ceiling. This will help to divide this by 5. So how this will help? If I go to the browser, if I go to the console, so here in the console I will export that max.ceil. We have this total list of 20 will divided by 5. It will divided by 5 will get that 4 of 20. So for example, the same thing, we have this 5. If I hit, it will get 1. So if I have this 6, now we'll get 2 because we have this 2 pages. If this is a round or something, we'll get 1 only. So only I'm using this seal. Here directly we need to append that into that limit. So I will create this limit page equal to document dot create element, and again with this option, because inside this select box we are going to add this as a option, limit page dot value equal to I, limit page dot text equal to I will set this limit dot append to limit page. If I save, if I go to the browser here, we can see 0 1 2 3, but we need to get that between numbers, right? So if it is 0 5 10 15 and 20, because we have length of 20, the simple calculation we can do, as I said, this is the per page of this. If I hit save now, now if I go to the browser, now we'll get 0 5 10 and 15. Here instead of 0 I need to set to empty. For that, if I double equal to 0, we are not going to do anything. Instead of this, I will add this I not equal to 0. If I save, if I go to the browser, copy this and I need to place it above this. If I go to the browser now, we'll get 5 10 and 15. So instead of this, we have total 20, right? But we are getting only this 3. So we need to add +1 for here, because we have added this 0 as first, right? So if I save, if I go to the browser, now we'll get 5 10 15 and 20. If I hit on search, we'll get that. For that, I need to create one more function. With function keyword, we'll set that filter search. Inside the filter search, first I will set this codeless.innerHTML equal to null. I need to create this let declaration with query string to empty. For this, if we are going to search with this category, we need to build this category with query string, and we need to get this product with this limit, we need to get this limit string. So for that, I will check if category dot value not equal to null. This category dot value is coming from this, same as I will check for limit dot value dot not equal to null. I'm going to define with simple query string with plus equal to. For this category, we need to append this products slash category and then category data. So for this product till the products, we have already created the URL, and I can copy this and I will paste it here. Instead of jewelry, I will set this category value. Same thing for this query string plus equal to. If this is present, we need to set this limit with that value. So again, I will copy this and I will paste it here. Instead of this, I will set to limit dot value. If I save, now we'll check this console.log to check this query string, and I need to call this function with this search input. We can do it from the search input or we can use it through that filter option. So here in the filter option, I can add this on click of this filter search. If I save, if I go to the browser, here if I click on electronics and if I click on limit to 5, if I hit search, we'll get this query string. So I will copy this, I will go to this product list. Now here we'll get all the 20 products, and then I will append that categories and then electronics with limit. If I hit enter, we'll get that only 5 product. How simple is this, right? So only we build this as a query string. Now we need to call this into that load product. So we can do this very simple. So I will add this load products. I can pause this query string into this load product and I will jump to this load product. In this load product, I can set this filter query, and if this filter query is present, we can directly append here. If I save, now this filter query is there. Some error is there because end of JSON. So here I need to pass some empty string. If I save, now we are not getting that error because here this load product from that window onload, we have not passed this empty. First time this should be empty. So then directly this URL should call. So if I change to this electronics and then if I hit search, it will build that query string to this electronic and it will pass to this products. Now we'll get only electronics. If I switch to jewelry, if I hit on search, we'll get only jewelry. If I switch to the men's clothing, we'll get that. If I go to the woman's clothing, if I hit search, we'll get that. If I want to get all the products, again here we have the empty. If I select, if I hit search, we'll get all the empty here. The same as we can hit for 5. If I hit only we can get the 5. If I hit on 10, if I hit search, we'll get that 10. And here we can add it to the cart. I can go and click the cart. We'll get the details. Again, I will update the cart with the same product. It is updating, and then I will add this 3. If I go to the cart, we'll get the total quantity as well as the total price as well as the total net price here. If I scroll, it will fixed on the top. If I scroll, it will set to the floating. Finally, we have completed this e-commerce website with API using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. I hope this video will be helpful for you. Please like and share this video and also subscribe to my channel Sarat Chandar K to watch more like this one. If you are interested in JavaScript projects like this, I have created and added a playlist link in the description. Please do check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep coding and keep learning. See you in the next video. Happy coding. Bye for now. Have a nice day.